Welcome to Jump Seat Conversations, a Travel Again advisory podcast. We believe the right idea deserves the right audience. So let's start the conversation now. Please welcome to the stage Managing Partner of Travel Again Advisory, Mike McCormick. Today's conversation is with Pavel Pratyush, co-founder and CTO of Acai Travel. Fasten your seatbelts and let's begin. Welcome. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you today.
My pleasure, Mike. How are you?
Good. So, look, Acai Travel is an agentic AI platform for travel servicing. But to better understand their product and their business model, let's hear their pitch. Pavel, take it away.
Sure, yeah. So Acai Travel is a vertical AI B2B company. What we do is we are building an agentic or AI agentic native travel operating systems. This travel operating system is for the TMCs, OTs, and airlines, practically any travel sellers. And we're doing it to reimagine how servicing is done in the industry.
So, look, I'll start with a statement that was in some of your commentary that caught my attention. You said something about most AI in travel talks, but Acai acts. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So look, what we're doing is we are to some degree already have built a synthetic brain. Take your most experienced travel agent, like in today's, today there are approximately, I don't know, maybe 1 million travel agents out there all over the world. Take the most senior ones. And then what we have done is taken that cognitive thinking and put it in a machine, an AI, so that not only thinks like a travel agent, but also acts. So as you said, our travel agent, the AI one is able to, look at fare rules, understand travel industry knowledge, make changes to modifications to PNRs, cancel, void, add luggage and whatnot. So yeah, post-booking servicing for now, but quickly expanding into new use cases that make sense for our customers.
Yeah, you mentioned the live PNR, and for those that aren't in the industry, like it's a passenger name record, but it's basically the key to like how a transaction gets documented in a sense, and effectively messaging gets handed off to all the respective parts of the trip. But it's kind of still at the epicenter. Why is it so difficult in our industry when it comes to what you do? Like what makes that so difficult? Because it seems to be, again, a lot of it gets done around this, like maybe surface areas of touch points with a customer. But when you start talking about the actual transaction, it gets a lot harder. Why is that?
Yeah, look, for an outsider like me, this is my first travel tech gig.
Guess what? You're never leaving the industry now. Once you're in, you'll never leave.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I underestimated the complexity of the travel industry when I started this with Ricky a few years back. It's a jungle of complexity, to be honest, really, like built on top of legacy systems. And essentially, the whole travel tech ecosystem is kind of piecing different things together with wires. And like take an OBT, for example. The OBT is connected to the GDS is connected to the profile system, then there's the policy, then there's some kind of duty of care feed, and then you have some rate reshopping. There's like different wires that is kind of connected and building this gigantic complex system, and every single wire or system connection can actually fail, right? And that's where the complexity of this action actually depends on. And the real like travel agents, they are like the heroes of our industry. Like they understand all of this complexity, and then they kind of navigate. So what we have done, as I was mentioning, is we are kind of cloning, if you will, like the cognitive brain behind a travel agent into a machine. And that's why it is not only just it is not limited, let's say, by the APIs of these systems that traditionally has been used to build systems, but it's actually thinking like a travel agent and actually accessing those systems like a professional agent would do. So that's the difference and why we can do it now.
Yeah, so in a lot of ways, though, it's still about building on top of legacy infrastructure, even if that infrastructure is being modernized and updated as you go. it's still a lot of that same issues that we've been facing in the industry for a long time, I'm assuming, right? I mean, it's interesting. You have a perspective of coming in effectively from the outside of this. So it's a little different than those that have been in it.
Some of it, yes. Look, if you really look into the distribution volume, right? I mean, yes, NDC is, picking up, but GDS volumes are still, quite significant in certain markets and certain, like, for example, business travel. So yes, our brain still needs to act on these legacy systems, but,
Yeah.
certain things like, policies, profile systems, building an AI native layer on top of existing systems is becoming more and more easy for AI native players like us. So for our system, you can hand it a 40-page PDF with all your policies and all the exceptions and all that, and we are able to ingest it and act on it or using it relatively faster than if we had to, let's say, connect or build on top of, let's say, a traditional profile system. We still do it. We still dump data and do that cross connection, but
Right.
it's AI native now.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I mean, this is a real inflection point for the GDSs as well, because they still provide a lot of the plumbing for the industry, of course, and but the question will be, ultimately, will they be, basically, will all this take over and effectively diminish their need, or in a lot of ways just continue to building on top of it, just makes it it effectively continues to shore up their role in the industry. It'll be an interesting inflection point. Any thoughts about where it might go?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's an interesting point. Look, if we look at what's happening with the GDS world, right? Like obviously, AI is not only. I mean, what I like to call AI is like the new industrial revolution. I mean, again, I don't know how it was back in the early 19th century, but I think AI is significantly changing the way humans act and behave, and as an extension of it work. So I see a lot of investment happening within the AI landscape in the travel industry, right? So you can hear, Sabre doing essentially a rebranding, Travelport announcing their partnership with some key players. Even Amadeus, they have been making some of the acquiring some of the companies. And let's not forget, Amadeus is also an investor in Acai, right? So I do see, the GDSs taking note of all of this development and heavily making some decisions around it to see how they can navigate. My personal take on this is AI is going to be making a huge impact on travel industry. Some of the fundamental flaws or complexities that travel industry has been facing might be easier to solve now
Right.
because players like Acai are coming in.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, of course, about what this means to the travel agencies out there, and certainly the human, based, businesses that have been built and built and built over the years. Um, do you see this like where you'll basically have these kind of, newly AI powered super agents that will, or is there just does that kind of role effectively go away? Does a new type of role emerge? Like where do you see it going for the industry? You're at the right at the epicenter of that.
Yeah, look, when we started writing our first line of code back in 2023, Chat GPT 3.5 was the new kid in the block. If you compare GPT 3.5 with, let's say, GPT, the latest version, and the and Anthropic's model Claude, a lot has changed, and I don't
Yes.
see there's the way back to not having LLMs in our lives. So I do believe, and I have a strong conviction that the industry is going to see specialized super agents, and that's why Asai, it's a vertical AI company. We focus only on travel tech, and I think not only travel industry but all other industries will have specialized
Yeah.
workers per se
Agreed.
powered by this cognitive thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so just generally, what do you think the biggest mistakes that travel companies are making right now when they look at AI and AI investment? Or
That's a difficult.
more words of advice for those that are in the business and trying to figure out what to do.
Look, I think there's two ways of looking at AI, right? AI is something like a magic wand that will solve all the problems that people don't even know, or looking at AI as a fantastic new way of solving problems that may not have been solved so far, right? So I would say not only travel, whoever is spending money on AI, identify the problems first and then find the right partner to solve that problem using AI, right? So in Acai, for example, like if you look at the average handling time, that is one of the key metrics for, call center performance. Average handling time is significantly high for changes and cancellations, right? And
Right.
we chose AI to solve that problem rather than, let's say, build a chatbot to, hey, what is the cheapest flight to go from Barcelona to London? I mean, yeah, right. So
Not
I think
exactly soft. Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So my key advice would be identify the problem that has not been solved and then look for AI or AI partners to solve that problem.
Got it. All right. So final question. It's the one we're asking everybody that comes on and sits in the jump seat. Tell us something about your business that you haven't told anyone before.
That's a difficult one. Look, we've got some big logos, as proud to have those logos as our clients. And again, the investment from, one of the major GDSs and whatnot. We recently won the innovation face-off at BTS London, then, Focusrite. Sometimes people may not realize that we are actually a dual setup. So we are based between New York and Barcelona. And we are a very lean team. We are under 20 people. So that's something that we don't usually say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think people realize that you're really still in your seed round. You're still really early stage, but but credit to you, you've been getting a lot of recognition for what you're doing, and as you know, I mean, certainly marketing is the key part of growing your business as well. But you guys have done a good job of that, given the space you're in. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for joining me in the cockpit today, and good luck with your future business endeavors.
Thanks, Mike. It was a pleasure.